I just wanted to say something. For 87 days now, the whole world has been watching the Holocaust in Gaza. There is no other word to describe what Israel, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and Italy, and all the other countries which are supporting Israel are doing in Gaza. There is no other word. It is a Holocaust. If what happened to Jews from 1939 to 1945 in Nazi Germany was a Holocaust, if murdering innocent Jewish men, women, and children in gas chambers and via execution, mass executions, if that was a Holocaust, then how is murdering men, women, and children in the gas chamber of Gaza, from which there is no escape? They can't leave by land, they can't leave by air, they can't leave by sea, and if they go underground, you have a problem with that? The only way they can leave is on a stretcher, in a coffin. That's the only escape from Gaza. And I know there are many other atrocities going on in this world right now. There always will be. And it will never be possible for anybody to condemn each and every atrocity that is happening. So a lot of people are out there doing whataboutism. What about Sudan? What about the Congo? What about the Afghanis who are being expelled from Pakistan? What about the Rohingya refugees? And every single one of those cases is a stain on humanity. But we can't spread our resources so thin that they cease to have any effect. We have to focus on the singular genocide that is taking place in Gaza. What makes it so special is because it has the support of the entire industrialized nations of the world. These nations which supposedly built the new rules-based international order on the ashes of Europe in 1945, it just doesn't matter. Palestinian lives are meaningless to them. Israel can murder, slaughter, rip apart, behead, crush, disembowel thousands upon thousands of children, not adults, children, some not even born in their mother's wombs. And nobody is blinking even an eye. And the supposed torchbearers of freedom of expression, the great institutions of the New York Times, the Washington Post, the London Telegraph, the Independent, the Guardian, CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox. There is no liberal or conservative when it comes to Gaza. Every single one of these is competing with all the rest to see who can spread the worst atrocity propaganda against Palestinians. They really want us to believe that a country which lies, and it lies brazenly, and it lies without conscience, and it lies with impunity, and it lies again and again and again for more than 75 years now. They want us to believe that everything that is coming out of this country's spokespeople is the word of scripture. They want us to believe that these Hamas fighters who were armed with Kalashnikovs and RPGs somehow managed to burn and demolish hundreds of cars and destroy hundreds of houses, and that these fighters who are so poorly armed compared to the great Israeli Defense Forces, whose singular goal that day was to get as many Israeli prisoners as they could in order to be able to free them in exchange for the more than 6,000 Palestinians Israel has kept in its dungeons, which includes men, women, and children, thousands of children. They want us to believe that on that day, these fighters somehow had the luxury or the time to sit around and commit mass rapes. And they want us to believe that the most horrific images that one can conjure up, not just conjure up, because these are things which have actually been done by Zionists in the past. They have cut off the breasts of Palestinian women in the past. They have done every single thing that they accuse their enemy of doing. And they want us to believe that on that day, somehow Hamas was there for some kind of a rape party, and that all the witnesses, all the first-hand testimonies from the Israeli prisoners being released by Hamas, the mother and her daughter who say that Hamas treats their women like queens, the mother who testifies that Hamas treated her and her children with love and compassion. They want us to believe that for some reason on October 7, 2023, Hamas went against everything it has ever done and just decided to say, fuck it. We're going to destroy our entire cause by raping some women. And not just women. The atrocity propaganda does not stop just at women. These people, they claim that even that Hamas raped men. I mean, are you kidding me? I seriously, who comes up with this bullshit? But it doesn't matter who comes up with this bullshit, because the standard bearers of freedom of expression in the Western world, the New York Times, is willing to launder this atrocity propaganda. And they don't care. They didn't care in 2003. Judith Miller worked for them in 2003. She told the whole world the lies about aluminum tubes and yellow cake uranium from the Niger coming into Iraq. Every single one of those things turned out to be a lie. Remember how Colin Powell held up a tube containing some kind of a sludge in the United Nations Security Council and claimed that this was a precursor to a weapon of mass destruction. And in one instant, that general destroyed his entire reputation, his entire legacy. And what happened? They went to war, they didn't care. The New York Times didn't give a fuck. It was just carrying out a job. Once the job was done, they kicked Judith Miller out. And then they published their mea culpas 5, 10, 15 years later. Oh, we didn't know. Just like once the job is done now, they will kick Jeffrey Gettleman out after some time, once the genocide in Gaza is complete. Once either all the people there have either been killed by American military explosives, or by disease, or by starvation, or they have left. And Israeli and American real estate companies are able to go in there and build condos. And BP is able to start drilling for gas off the shore of Gaza. And Benjamin Netanyahu is able to finally start executing his dream of building the Ben Gurion Canal as an alternative to the Suez Canal, cutting through the heart of Gaza. Once their goals have been achieved, all of these people will again be kicked out. And 5, 10, 15 years from now, again, the New York Times will publish editorials saying that we didn't know, but it won't matter at that time, right? Because who cares? Who cares? Job well done. This is the mission that has been assigned to them, and this is the mission that they are carrying out. During the Nazis, there was a paper called Der Stürmer, and its publisher was tried at the Nuremberg trials and was hanged, executed for his role in spreading lies about Jews. Now, these people may never face the same kind of justice, but the New York Times is no better than Der Stürmer. And its publishers are no better than that man and the ones who worked for him. There's no difference between them. Just because these people are cloaked in some sort of a blanket of democracy and free speech. It's not. If it was a democracy, then Joe Biden would not be able to continuously supply weapons of war to Israel, despite the fact that 70% of the American population wants this carnage in Gaza to end. And they have wanted this carnage to end for more than 2 months now. I lived in America for nearly 10 years. America has its faults. And America has a lot of people who are terrible. But I also know that what makes America a great country is the fact that it has some of the best people on this planet, some of the most caring, the most compassionate. That is what has made America a great nation. America didn't become a great nation because of slavery. America became a great nation despite slavery. America has faced its demons in the past. Very few countries on this planet can claim to have done that. In Japan, they still have a shrine which honors the memory of the worst war criminals during the Second World War and before. People who committed horrific pogroms like the rape of Nanking. Japan still has a shrine called the Yasukuni Shrine, and people go there and worship every single year. It's not too late. Americans can still stop this insanity. Joe Biden needs to go. He's destroying our nation. He will destroy America and he will bring down Western civilization with it. I'm not kidding. Because if this continues, do you think that every single nation in the world will keep quiet? Yemen has acted. How long will it be before other countries are forced to take steps? How long will it be before the population in Jordan and Saudi Arabia overthrows their rulers and then decides to intervene militarily against Israel? What will happen then? Israel will use its nukes because that's all it knows. And then that's it. We're fucked, all of us, the whole world. The good thing will be that global warming will stop, because, well, if there is no industrial production, there is no emission of carbon. And if the Earth's atmosphere is saturated with emissions coming from particles coming from the burning of most of the world's major metropolises, then the Earth is going to cool down pretty damn fast. And that's where we will be. Why? Also, that one psychopath, Benjamin Netanyahu, can remain in power for as long as possible. And that one demented old man called Joe Biden can keep ignoring the worst war crimes against humanity since the Second World War. Is that what we want? Because that is what will happen if the Holocaust in Gaza is not brought to an end quickly. And it's not something I want to see happen. I don't want to see the world burn. This is the world that my daughter will grow up in. I don't want to leave her a world in ashes. Nobody would want that. But if we don't do something now, that is what will happen. So it's Christmas Eve. It's New Year's Eve. 87 days of the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, non-stop. Well, there was 1 week of humanitarian pause, enough time for them to collect some of their dead before Israel started killing them again. Stop this. Unsubscribe from the New York Times. Cancel your subscription to that genocidal rag. Cancel your cable subscription. Don't finance the BBC. Don't pay your BBC service fees in the United Kingdom. Stop sending your spokesman and stop giving interviews on all of these channels. There's no need for these channels. We have social media. We have independent journalism now, which the whole world watches. There is no need for us to keep feeding the beast. And once the tap is turned off, they will all wither and die away. Stop eating at McDonald's. Stop buying coffee at Starbucks. Stop shopping at Walmart. You know you can do it. It's not that difficult. Wherever there's a Starbucks, there is a coffee shop nearby which sells better coffee. Wherever there's a McDonald's, there is some other smaller chain which is not capitalized out on the genocide of Palestine and by sending meals to the IDF soldiers committing the genocide. Use the power of your pocket. And if you do, then I guarantee you this world will change. And it won't just be Palestine which gains its freedom. Because none of us are free right now. We are all slaves, either wage slaves or literal slaves, of a system which doesn't care that the planet is being burned down right now. We have to change it. It can't continue like this. You can't expect the people who started the fire to actually want to put it out. The arsonist is never going to be the firefighter. And it's very simple. That's all you have to do. Don't buy that next iPhone. Just use the one that you already have. It's good for the next 4-5 years. You know that. Don't buy the latest Nike shoes. That's all you need to do. Simple choices. And those simple choices can change the whole world. And that is my wish for the new year. That is my resolution. That I will not do anything. I will not support any corporation to the best of my ability, which is implicated in the genocide of Palestine. And I hope that you will also find the courage to do the same. And even if you're not able to do it 100%, that's fine. Nobody's perfect. We all want to eat a Big Mac. Go ahead. Just don't do it too often. You want to buy Starbucks? Fine, do it. Instead of 3-4 days a week, go once a week. That'll be enough. That will be enough. That should be our resolution. That should be our wish for the new year. To bring an end to the Gaza Holocaust. And more importantly, to bring to justice the perpetrators of the worst war crimes against humanity since the Second World War. Because if we let them get away with it, they'll do it again and again and again. We can't let them. John Kirby, Anthony Blinken, Joe Biden, Austin, Netanyahu, Gallant, Gantz, and of course the Nazi princess Ursula von der Leyen. The publishers of the New York Times, the journalists at CNN, at the BBC. Each and every one of these people needs to be held accountable. Because if we don't do that, then we have failed as a society and a civilization. And if we can't bring justice to the 11,000 slaughtered children of Gaza, then the planet and our civilization is really no good. It deserves to burn. But let's not let that happen. I wish each and every one of you a blessed Happy New Year. May it bring peace and prosperity to all of you. And may it bring justice to those who deserve it. Free Palestine.